Okay, so first, YouTube, please don't demonetize me for this, but I have to get this out of my head. When you hear someone talking about the AR-15 or the M16, they're technically describing a automatic rifle. Automatic rifles are rifles that fire full powered rounds, or anything that's basically 7.62 by 61 NATO, or anything below that. Anything in the 7.62 category or above. Below 7.62 is, I believe, called intermediate rounds, and that's what assault rifles fire. Assault rifle is a subcategory of automatic rifle, which it technically, because automatic rifle is a technical term given to a broad range of weapons, as it means anything that is capable of firing constantly while pressure is applied to the trigger. So this goes like anything from assault rifles to like HMGs. But within the realm of automatic rifle, you have different subcategories like assault rifle, SLRs, which stand for self-loading rifles, SARs, semi-automatic rifles. Well, no, those are actually their own category, so no. Anything that's capable of firing with the trigger just held down. And then you get into other more niche categories of like LMGs, light machine guns that use full-powered cartridges like 7.62 or above. Then you get into things that use... this can be like the Madsen MG that is still in service with, I believe, like certain parts of the Danish army. The M240, the M249, the M60. Then you get into your MMGs or medium machine guns. These were things like... the best way to put it is like the Browning M1919, which is still in service today, which also makes it one of the longest serving machine guns in history. I mean, it's only rivaled by some of the Madsen machine guns fielded by Ukraine, which those were used during the early days of World War I, when water cooling was still a thing. The most notable role of the MMG, and the most well-known MMG, hold on, had to sneeze there, sneezed and paused the video for that, was the MG42. Also, but technically the MG34 was also an MMG, just not to the same extent as the named by the Allies, the German buzzsaw that was the MG42. Then you get into your HMGs, like the MG131, the Browning, the M2 Browning, and I believe that's the Japanese Type 97, I believe. The Japanese Type 97, used during World War II, all three of them. But the Browning M2 is still in service today. It was created and fielded in 1939 and remains to be one of the longest serving HMGs in history, still being used on vehicles and by ground crews today. It's got, I believe, 3 different variants. There's the variant that sits on a tripod. That's the one you see being used by people on the ground. There's the variant that you sit on like a rotating turret that's used on like ground vehicles like tanks, Humvees, basically armored vehicles. Stuff like tanks, Humvees, I almost said M2, but the M3 A1 Bradley Infantry Fighting Vehicle, which I know, IFV, it was originally meant to be an armored personnel carrier, but the uh, Army went completely overboard with it. Certain Blackhawks have 50s instead of the M134, or if they want to especially just say screw the people in particular that are shooting at the people trying to get out in the Black Hawk, they have actually invented a tri-barreled 50 caliber, or 50 BMG to be exact. They've invented a 50 caliber minigun. Has 3 barrels. Pretty cool. You can actually watch the Fat Electrician when he talks about the Black Hawk, as he goes into a bit more detail about that, I guess. I think. I don't know. And then the last one you have is the airborne variant. That's the one that's most likely going to be strapped to like a Black Hawk or something. Now, each one of them has a different thing about it. The ground one and the vehicle one. Vehicle one's the one that's been fed from the big box. The ground one is the one that's being fed by that big belt that you see someone holding up. While the airborne one is the one that you don't really see the ammo feed into, mainly because, like, if you look at any World War II fighter aircraft, any World War II era aircraft that had 50 cals mounted, they had internal ammo storage inside the wings. Most of the time, the ammo was inside the wings. That way, in case the wings got hit and the ammo cooked off, it couldn't kill the crew. Although that wasn't the standard on all planes, like the P-38 had its engines on the wings instead of at the cockpit. So I believe they slid the ammo in somewhere else. I don't know. I haven't read that much into the P-38 to be exact, to be honest. But I'm getting off topic here. Basically, when you hear someone say like, oh, I have an AR, ask them, what do you mean by AR? And if they say, oh, an assault rifle, tell them, does it fire something like 5.56? And if they say no, it fires 7.62, then tell them they do not have an assault rifle, they have an automatic rifle. Because automatic rifles use full rifle cartridges like 7.62 and above. Although there is a certain cartridge that's only used in the, what is known basically around the world as the garbage rod, which is called the Mosin. Before I get a bunch of Russian fanboys in my comments saying, oh, but the Mosin is one of the best rifles in the world. It's served since World War I. Yeah, so has the Springfield M1903. Yes, if you didn't know, the Springfield M1903 and M1 Garand are still in service with the United States military. It's just they are in service in limited numbers. You will find the M1903 most prominently displayed with the honor guard, at the tomb of the tomb of the unknown soldier. And you will find the M1 Garand with most Marine parade regiments. So, yeah. And do not ever doubt their lethality. All it takes is the parade regiment from switching over from blank ammunition, if they're the funeral regiments, from switching over from blank ammunition to live ammunition to quickly mop up a fight. Because both the M1903 and the M1 Garand both use 30-06, which is a alteration of 30 caliber. The same ammunition that the Browning in 1919 uses. It's also the same caliber that the Browning automatic rifle, or BAR, or Browning in 1918 uses, and it was also the same ammunition that the standard MMG of the United States Army and Marines before the adoption of the 1919, the Browning M1917, which was used during World War I, actually. And you can actually check that version of the gun out in the game released in 2016, Battlefield 1. As well as a lot of different weapons. And in that game, you'll also find a weapon called the Hellriegel. Now, the Hellriegel is a prototype weapon. They had to take a lot of artistic liberties, and I don't want to hear any flame about that. There was only 2 pictures that proved that the weapon ever existed. And there was only 2 pictures that proved that the Hellriegel ever existed. Again, prototype. But I also have to give a big nod to the DICE studio that made Battlefield 1, because Battlefield has always focused on forgotten battles. Well, except for like Wake Island, except for Battlefield 5's Pacific DLC, where they did Wake Island, Wake Island, Iwo Jima, and Solomon Islands, and I think that's it. No, Pacific Storm. But I don't know what islands those are. But yeah, only 2 of them are well known. 2 of those maps are well known: Wake Island and Iwo Jima. The battle for the Solomon Islands actually happened. Look it up. It was a bloody campaign for both sides, especially bloody for the Marines that fought there. But I'm getting off topic again. But yeah, that was my little rant about guns.